Hi, this is JilliBling of JilliBling.com, and I have a project I'd love to share with you today. It is using a new bundle, Forever and Always. There's a bundle. I particularly love these flowers. So, see the samples here. What do you think? Isn't that pretty? Oh, this one I didn't stick in, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Such a nice layout. Oh, the sticky is down here low just because if this is still wet, you don't want to transfer color over to here. And I didn't want to wait to let it dry, so I'm protecting it that way. Not that I messed up a whole bunch of times already. Kind of in the orange and peachy colors. Very different layout. And all of this is done with Versamark. So I was looking at all of these. Let me see if you could see all of them. And I was thinking, what color am I missing? Orange and yellow, I know. So I did one with that. But I haven't put it together yet. But there's a reason I wanted to show you the difference in a few of the new papers. So this one, there's two different ones that I've used on these projects. When you get the project kit, you get to choose which paper you prefer to use. One of them is shimmery white cardstock, and the other one is in the new January through May mini catalog, pearlescent specialty paper. This one is 12 by 12 paper. You get 2 sheets. It's $4. The shimmery white is more cardstock, and I was surprised how thin the pearlescent specialty paper is. I'll show you the difference. So this is the pearlescent specialty paper. Can you see how it is just regular thickness? It's not cardstock. And then, so let's see, what do I have here? This is the shimmery white that we're used to. This is the pearlescent. So, I think my son just came home. I hear the dog barking. So that is shimmery white. We're used to that. And this is quite a bit thinner. And let me see, can you tell the difference in color? Just a mild difference. This paper, the shimmery, is much more obvious, so I think they put on a whole lot of shimmer compared to the shimmery white. And they do act different when doing this project. We're going to do some watercoloring and heat embossing. I'll show you the difference. Let me make sure you can see them. There you go. So this one, when I stamped, it almost seemed like the Versamark ink was bubbling and boiling under the heat tool. And it didn't leave it quite as detailed as the shimmery white. But when I applied the color using the watercolor brush, I must say the ink was smoother to lay over and fill in the flower compared to the shimmery white. So feel free to try. Both of these will be in the project box, and you could choose whichever one you want. But this that is already complete, and you know it comes out a little bit more pastel too. Boy, okay, beware, it stays wet, and I did this last night. Yeah, there's still a little ink coming off. Just take your finished pieces, turn it over, and on your scratch paper, just kind of rub it on there to get any excess ink off onto your scratch paper, because look at this, you certainly don't want it on there. So these pieces I'm going to cut out, and I'll just do it really loosely right now. And for the pictures that I put on my blog and the sample that will be in the box, it will be complete. But I wanted to show you how to put together this project. Oh, I hear dogs coming in. Dogs. So that's going to go there. I'm going to copy. Hi. I'm going to copy this sample here. So here's the words, and you just lay them on top. And I purposely didn't attach this one. Hi, Bruiser. Hello.
That's a new bed.
I know. Come say hi. I'm doing a video. You like the new bed?
Yeah.
It's all new paint in there too. So just trim this off. And I'm purposely trying to trim off that, even if I have to have the words not in the middle, because I don't like that. Or maybe I could put flowers over the top there. Boy, now everyone's outside, just like that. Okay. So I stamped these on the white. There's scratch white. Words that go over the black paper, trim to fit. That's what we just did now. And this is words for under white. And I say wide because it goes this way. Words for under white, narrow, goes this way. Okay, so this is going to go in here. So I'm just going to attach it. Oh, I've got so much going on. In just a minute, we'll get to the next project. So that will go anywhere. I'm going to put it up a little bit higher so I could put the these flowers on. So this one, and I'm kind of copying this, and then this one will go here, and the inside is already done on this one. Oh, and on the sticky I say what colors I used when you go to do the watercoloring. Okay, so I will have a completed picture of this orange and yellow one on my blog, and it's going to be similar to this. Okay, that's what all of these are. That could go off to the side. This paper here was supposed to go inside right here, but to me it's too messy. I didn't like it. I'll put it in the box if you like it. If it's still there, it's yours. So this one, I do like that, but notice how the paper, after you do the watercoloring and the heat setting of the embossing powder, it makes the white paper curl. So to fix that, you can use tear tape or liquid glue, but what I'm going to do is do 2 layers of adhesive here and one around the rest that isn't distorted from the heat. Oh, look at that. Okay, you have to be careful with, that must have sat on top of that orange one. Okay, I'll show you how to avoid letting that happen. Okay, so that one is stuck in there now just fine with 2 layers of adhesive down here. Okay, so there's the purple, the blue, turquoise, orange coral. This one, see how much more pastel that is? But it's much more shimmery. Okay, so let's copy this one on today's project. Okay, to get back Forever and Always, here's the dies. In here there's the dies for the words love and also the dies for the words always. Heal Your Heart. This is a sale abrasion stamp set you could get for free. I wanted to use this, particularly the Sorry for Your Loss, because we always need those on hand. Approaching Perfection. This could be a birthday card. And Dandelion Wishes. I pulled this one out just because I like these words. Wishes for a lifetime of love and happiness. That I put on here. Forever and Always Together. Wishes for a lifetime of love and happiness. I love how those go together. Okay. back on task. So let's fold the base paper in half. I'm distracted because the kids are here. So my son had COVID. Michaela had COVID. She had it from her roommate, and then she gave it to Boz. And so we haven't seen them kind of since Christmas because they had to be 10 days away. Okay, so in this kit will be a few of these embossing folders, and these perfectly fit through Baby Boss, but the width of the paper that we're going to die cut is too wide, so it has to go through Big Boss. Metal Moments greenery, and I really like this one, how the leaves look like they're falling, so let's do that one. Okay, so that's going to go on here, and those are the colors I want to use. On the inside of each of these lists the colors that I use to do the watercoloring. You could use any colors you like. If you have colors at home, you can use those. I like these words, thank you. So this time, instead of putting the words, the greeting, on a banner or having it cut out, I'm going to put it directly onto this card. So it'll be using Versamark, and I should be using my embossing buddy, but don't tell anyone. Hopefully I'll have good results here. I really like this font. Thank you. Thank you. And embossing powder. My tub of embossing powder is with a different project, so we'll just be using it the old-fashioned way. Oh, I caught an edge. I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. See right there? I kind of rocked the stamp. So if ever you do that, first of all, I should have used my embossing buddy so I wouldn't have to worry about all these little pieces. But if ever you do that, and I just want this top little part right here to go away. I have a paintbrush, but I noticed it's kind of a mess, but I think it might work for this. I need to get a new one. Just brush off the powder. And if there's no powder, it doesn't get heated, and therefore it doesn't make it embossed. Oop, did that make it worse? Oh my gosh, now I'm making skid marks. Now I'm knocking off powder. Okay, just leave well enough alone. Okay, now I'm going to heat emboss it. Just like that. Okay, so because I have all these little marks, if you have a sand eraser, that might help remove some of these marks. And if it doesn't, put flowers there or put a butterfly there. Okay, so here's a card base, and that is going to be put on. And I'm just going to do it flat. You could do it on dimensionals if you want. White on white on white. Okay, so that is done for now. So now for the flowers, you can choose the pearlescent specialty paper. which we already did on that orange card. And then here is the shimmery white. And I did a few things in advance. I'm going to do a few leaves on here. Yeah, this is a lot thicker. And I might do a few leaves on here. So in this bundle, there's two different leaves. There is the long one and a little bit more of a rounder, shorter one. Whatever you like is what you need to have on there. And I'm going to do at least two of each of the styles. Okay, I like this one. I'm going to do a little bit more. I have a bag in there that if you stamp too much, because I don't want to throw away that paper, it's shimmery white. It costs way too much. I think you get 10 sheets in a package and it's kind of expensive. But if you want to do this process, you need a coated paper, such as a specialty or such as shimmery white. It just needs to be coated, and I'll show you why in a minute. Because we'll also do some watercoloring on the inside of the card, and that's just on the plain Whisper White, and it acts very different. And this bundle comes with dies, which is great, but I needed a closer cut. I'll show you why here. Let me get these cooked and then I'll show you why. When you do your heat embossing, make sure that you have the powder 100% melted, heat set, and it's shiny. Because if you don't, when you do the watercoloring, the aqua painter, the water will escape from the borders. That will make sense here in just a minute too. So these are 100% heated. I was going to show you something really important, but I forgot. So I'll just move on. That's how it is. So I wanted to use these colors, Blackberry Bliss, Flirty Flamingo, Rich Razzleberry for the leaves, mint for the flower centers, daffodil. So here's my colors. In this little tray I have, oh, I was going to tell you about the dies. So the dies here are Love and Always. This project I used the floral dies to cut out the flowers, which is great. But if you happen to go outside the line, for instance right here, it would be nice if you were hand cutting it and cutting it close up. And because when I did the watercoloring, I went outside the lines a lot. You can use these if you want, but all of my other projects, they are hand cut. So it's considerably closer, and then I could cut off Like, see how it's really close right there? Because I know I went over the edge. So however it works for you is fine. These are convenient. This is a little bit more precise. So those are the dies. So in this little tray I have aqua painters. I'll take one of those. And I have these window sheets. Take one of those. When you set the window sheet on your paper, make sure there's no ink on here, because a prior person, if they didn't clean it off all the way, it will create a problem for you. We don't want that. When you're doing watercoloring, if possible, leave a bit of white. See how this is really light? It's almost white. Some of these tips are white. Just because a lot of people, they tend to just keep coloring until the whole leaf is purple. But I think it looks better if there's a little bit of dark, medium, lighter, and almost white on each of the colors, if you could do that. A lot of people on this, they would just keep on coloring it till it was the same color, and that would be pretty, but it isn't quite as dramatic as this effect. And same here. See how there's lighter, there's different tones. If you can, try to do that. Another tip is when you have your re-inkers, alphabetize them. And you're like, what? Why do I have to do that? And you'll know here in just a minute why I have you do that. When you have all these little dots on here, they all look the same almost no matter what color it is. So if they're alphabetized, trust me, it's saved me I don't know how many times. So I have Blackberry Bliss, Rich Razzleberry, Flirty Flamingo, Mint, and Daffodil. Okay, so now they're alphabetized. And normally I would have them up like this, but then you can't see the colors. So for now, just for this project, I'm going to lay them down here. When you put a drop of ink on the window sheet, do a really small drop. When I was doing all of these projects, I put like a drop and a half. I ended up tossing most of it out. You can always add more. If you do too much, it's okay. But you need such a little amount of it. Okay, Blackberry Bliss, Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, and with all these little bottles laying up here, I'll know which colors to try to blend. I won't try to blend the mint. Oh, there's a whole bunch of that. The mint with the for the flowers. Okay, if you can, that's probably all you need. Okay, so let's start with the big flower. So take your aqua painter, and Stampin' Up! Came out with some new ones. They work the same way. And this is filled with regular tap water. I'm going to give it a squeeze over my flower. I might get a drip, which is good, but I want to do a watercolor wash. And what that does is it will completely saturate the paper. And I'm just going to do this flower right now. And then when I put the ink on it, the ink will just flow, and naturally it will create a really nice graduated ombre type look. So let me come up with a plan first. I think I'll do this one in, I'll do it in Blackberry Bliss and, or no, I'll do it in Razzleberry and Flirty Flamingo. Okay, so a little squeeze. I'm looking for a bit of a drip. Then I'm going to put the drip all over here, fill in all the places, pick up some Blackberry Bliss, and can you see how the ink is just kind of flowing out? And if you don't have enough water on here, it's not going to do the flowing. And you have just a little bit of time, not too much, because it will start, the water will absorb into the paper. Okay, so I have that color done. I'm going to get rid of all this color here. Give it a squeeze, make sure I have enough color on the ends. Then I'm going to go to Flirty Flamingo. And it looks like it's already soaked into the paper. But that's okay, I just want a hint of this color out here. And also, if you take the aqua painter and pull some of the color out, you could control the depth of the color. Because sometimes you don't want it full on flirty flamingo. You want it maybe a little bit softer. Like, see this? You can assume and imagine how soft that color will be. Okay, so I'm going to leave it just like that. And in the end, it will be pretty. Trust me. Now let's go on to this one. So this one I'm going to do in mostly the dark color, but I'm going to have it go to white. So I'll give it a squeeze. Dark color, I'm referring to Blackberry Bliss. Now I want it a little bit darker toward the center of the flower. So I'm adding a little more color, but I want to leave it just like that. Notice how there's a little bit of the white on there? Isn't that pretty? And then I will do the buds in this Blackberry Bliss. And once again, just a hint of color. Okay. Ooh. Oh well, that's okay. Okay, so now for the leaves, I'm going to make sure all the color is out of the brush tip. And this one right here is mint. Mint. Okay, so no color. Watercolor wash. Pick up some mint. And if you don't do the watercolor wash over the top of it, the ink won't do that natural flow thing, but I'll show you what it looks like if you don't do it, because I didn't do it on the leaves there. If you pick up the ink, it's just solid mint, which is nice. That's pretty. But if you do the wash, then the mint, now it's kind of saturated from the other side, but you can see how it just kind of flows out naturally. Naturally. Okay, so those are colored. And I'm going to leave this off to the side because when it comes time to color the inside of the card, I might need these colors. And when I set this over off to the side, I'm going to say what colors are they, but I'll know because they're alphabetical. But I'm going to try to leave these here. Okay, so done with this until we do the inside. So now it's time to cut these out. And I'm just leaving a little bit of a white border. Boy, I probably should have had these cut out before. Because they're still kind of wet. Okay. That one is really wet. Oh, I didn't do the flower centers either. I need to do those in daffodil. Leaves. So see right there on the green where I'm about to cut? That's why I'm not using the die. It's because I could cut really close and you don't notice I went outside the line. smudged it. Okay, it might be a good thing. Flip them all over and smush them. See, there's a smudge. Good thing I'm cutting it off. So your flowers, they could be any color combo you like. A lot of them I did more than one color. But if you happen to have your favorite color re-inker at home, feel free to use that. Or combine any of these colors that I have. Look, I have them in this little basket. I put in there just the colors that I used. Look how saturated that is. It went through. So, if you don't do your embossing buddy and you have little marks, embossing black powder outside the edge, it's okay. We're going to cut it off. Oh, I should turn it over. Check it. Ooh, look what it did. So today is Sunday. Every Sunday we have family dinner. Like I said, haven't seen the kids, it seems like, for a long time. So I'm happy they're here. I don't know why my son went and moved out. I was teasing him, telling him, I didn't touch your room for the longest time, thinking maybe you'd come back. He's like, Mom, I bought a house. I'm like, I know. I said, but I like you here. And he says, I had to spread my wings. It's hard being a mom. And last weekend, we were with Emma. She bought a house at the same time. And hers is a 1940s, I'm not sure what year, 40, house. It is the cutest thing. Hardwood floors, arched doorway openings. The kitchen is like an antique. You have to push the buttons to make the oven and stove work. Or like, oh, you have to get a new one. And then when we were there, she says, oh, I'm not getting a new one. This is retro and it works perfect. So, but the girls were painting and then she decided she wanted a new kitchen faucet. She says, it's great that I have a stainless steel sink, but this divider in the middle is going to drive me crazy. And the sink was so low that she couldn't put a pan in the sink to fill it up with water. So that was Tony's job, was to put on a new faucet. No problem. Okay, turned out that all the pipes were so old, trying to get off this piece or that piece, we were ruining the rest of the sink. So what did it ended up being like 4 trips to the local hardware store. First it was a faucet. Oh, I didn't do green on these things. First it was the faucet, then plumbing pieces, then a sink, like the part where the disposal goes in, so if you have your whole sink, that part right there. And then eventually a whole new sink. So now she has a big 1 tub stainless steel, and then it kept leaking. But she's all set now. But the 2 of us, we were painting girls. She chose this color. She wanted it really light because they had buttercup yellow. And so I think they called it something wisteria, but it was more or less white with a tiny hint. And it wasn't purpley. It was more blue-gray, but very, very light. Okay, we started painting it. She goes, gosh, it's drying darker than I thought it would. We're like, well, just give it a try. Wait till it dries, because you can't really return partially used gallon of paint. She ended up liking it, but we painted the kitchen and started in the bathroom, and then she was to do the trim. And just last night she says, okay, before I go to work today, one layer of white is on my kitchen. And you could see the blue tape everywhere, and she's doing it right. It's just, it's so fun to see home ownership and pride, and her making decisions. Boz, his house is just a few years old, so he doesn't have to make many improvements. Okay, finally, those are all cut out. This is cleared out. So these, let me turn this one over. Oh, I had to do the yellow still. I need someone reminding me stuff. Okay, the yellow is alphabetical order. See, it's paying off. I know when I told you, put your ink drops in alphabetical order. I know you're like, it's a little crazy, a little OCD, but see, it works. There's a reason. Somebody just came and checked to see if I was still talking. Okay. Yeah, those left a little stuff behind. Okay, so here are all the pieces that have been flipped over, so hopefully they won't leave behind color. So this one, how about there? I was going to try to cover that up. No. No. That's kind of pretty. Okay, so here's some dimensionals. Sometimes I like to keep some of them a little bit simple because I know I get crazy. It's like each one, it gets more and more elaborate. And then when you guys get them, you're like, ugh, this is too much. So this one I'm going to try to keep easy. There's that turquoise one. This one I was trying to keep it easy. That one's easy, right? Okay, so this can go, how about right there? And then these leaves. So I'm going to lay them in place first because I don't know where I want them. The big flower, it can have the big leaves. What do you think? Are you liking it? Am I putting too many leaves on? That's pretty. Okay, you know I kind of like the leaves down lower. Okay, liquid glue. So shimmery white paper, because it has the coating on it, the water doesn't absorb immediately, and that's why you need shimmery white or coated paper for this project. Again, when you're doing the watercoloring, if you can, try to leave some white on it, and on your little palette or your window sheet. Just take your drip of ink with your aqua painter, kind of pull it out to soften it a little bit so it isn't quite as concentrated. And that will help you achieve the color you're looking for. And when you put the water on, it doesn't dry super fast, but keep in mind that it will be soaking into the paper. The coating makes it take just a little bit of time, which is how you get the color to float on the water like that. Okay, so the outside is done. So inside, thank you. This is a good place just to write stuff. So I'm going to keep it a little bit simple on the inside so you could do all of your writing, because I don't know that any of these words in these sets would really work. Well wishes, I made a wish you came, no. These aren't thank you, that's all about birthday. I like it from here. I don't know what I would do without you, that's kind of cute. But that's a little smushy. I think I'm just going to leave it with just a few flowers. So, these are the colors. Done with glue. So Versamark, about right in the middle. No, probably stick, just take that opportunity to really rub the image onto your paper. And how about this little one here? A little bit here. Put that in the powder. Okay, now heat it. Okay, so now we're going to be doing the aqua painter on Whisper White cardstock, and it's going to act a bit different. So let's see, how about this one? So I'm going to purposely pull the ink out, give it a little bit of squeeze to make it watery through here. Because if I were to take this color, I'll show you in just a minute, and put it right directly on the Whisper White, oh, that's shimmery white, that would be too strong. So then I'm going to give it a little bit of a squeeze again. Yeah, that's kind of dark right there. And then while the ink is getting softer, I'm going to keep on going around to the edges of the flower. Maybe pick up a little bit of that softened color. But it isn't nearly as forgiving, and you can't move the color about like you can on the shimmery white. So if I were to take it directly to here, put it right onto there, it's almost black. It's so solid. So I'm purposely leaving a little bit of white at the tips. And because there's not much ink left on the brush, I'm going closer to the edge. Okay, so the next one is Rich Razzleberry. I'll do this one. You know what, I need to soften that up a bit. Oop, getting out of the lines. Okay, and then this one will be Flirty Flamingo. A little bit of a squeeze, pull some ink out, and soften it up. And then I'll go on to the paper. And that one came out good. Okay, and then a little bit of the daffodil for the center. Okay, I think that's it. So this, make sure to turn it over. And if you want, let it dry for a while. That's going to go right into here. I'm not going to put it in because so many of them I ended up with ink over here. I'm going to let it dry for a while. When you have this, if you can, to clean it up for the next person, because I did both the outside and the inside, just kind of wipe these things. And give it a squirt or just put it under the kitchen sink and wipe it off. Because if you were working on purple and then somebody's doing a yellow or orange flower, that's not a good thing. Okay, so that's all cleaned off. Okay, so that is it. I will have all the cards, insides and outs, posted on my blog, and this is a project kit. So thank you for tuning in. This is JilliBling.com. And give me a thumbs up if you like it. Thanks. Bye.